Hi, I'm Hannah Heatherman. I'm an associate at Spaulding Ridge on the higher education team. Before consulting, I spent around 5 years at a U.S. university in the budget office where we implemented Anaplan for tuition revenue forecasting as well as hybrid RCM budget model allocations. I'm excited today to be giving a brief demonstration of some of Anaplan's UX functionality, but before we dive into that, I'll kick it over to my colleague Russ to introduce himself and to provide a brief overview of some of Anaplan's higher ed capabilities.
Thanks, Anna. I'm Russ, and I wanted to share just a little bit more about Spaulding Ridge and specifically our Anaplan practice. Talk a little bit about some of our customers in higher education and beyond. And then lastly, talk about some of the use cases of Anaplan that we see in higher education before I turn it back over to Hannah to do a deeper dive on some of the features and benefits of the platform. As you see here, we're a global strategic partner. We're the highest level of partner within Anaplan. We've done hundreds of implementations of the tool across nearly every industry. We've been the partner of the year 4 times. We have hundreds of dedicated Anaplan consultants. We're based in headquarters in Chicago, but with offices in Canada and across the globe. Just some of our clients you see on the left there, some of the higher ed clients, again, not exhaustive. We have 50 plus, I think, higher education clients at this point, but these are just some of the ones that we've done a lot of work with or worked with recently. And on the right, you can see we're also trusted in kind of corporate America by some of the leading Fortune 50 household names, such as Chevron and Hewlett Packard and United Airlines. Lastly, within Anaplan, when we think through the different use cases that we see Anaplan most commonly deployed to in higher education, you see it's kind of a couple of different buckets here. You have revenue and budgeting and long-range planning, reporting. You kind of see those going around. What I want to point out is that these all become connected on the Anaplan platform. So once we have the data flowing in and out of Anaplan, you can kind of flex or leverage Anaplan into any one of these, and the data becomes connected to any of the other use cases. So for instance, you may want to connect enrollment planning data, so forecasting student demand and student needs, and bring in student data and forecasting student data, and tie that to a capital plan to say, well, when might we need housing on campus, or when might we need more lab and classroom facilities? And you can use the outputs of calculations made in enrollment planning over in capital planning or on an executive dashboard or another KPI, maybe even feeding all the way into long range planning. So this all becomes kind of a connected hive. We think of it, we call this the honeycomb. This all kind of becomes a connected hive within Anaplan. We talk of it modularly, but it's really not modular. You own the entire platform. And once you deploy Anaplan, you own the power and capability to do each of these. And then you begin to deploy them either with partners like Spaulding Ridge or with your own internal teams. You can begin to deploy these things. To talk to you more about some of the specific features and how Anaplan works, I'll turn it back over to Hannah.
The first page that I'm going to share with you will be the sample landing page. You can see here, these will include quick links to other pages within the model just to keep navigation very simple and intuitive. Here we have them listed with just their page name, but we can also configure them to be titled icons or logos that suit your university. This is also naturally a spot that you might include other documentation, key reporting figures or KPIs, links to other university resources, or some high-level instructions on how to use the app. We'll often make multiple configurations of these landing pages so that we can assign them by user group, really just ensuring that each stakeholder has only the most relevant information for their role specifically each time that they open the app. The next page that we're going to look at is going to be this incentive-based allocation of revenue page. Lots going on here, but you'll see again across the top, we have our quick nav links. And then up in the top right, we have these context selectors. These can be configured at various levels of granularity depending on what you're looking for. In this case, you can view one college at a time or the aggregate of all schools and colleges. We can also use selective access features to assign user-specific read or write permissions for specific lists and list items. You'll next see that across cards, there's two different colors of text. We have this easily identifiable purple, and these are going to be our cells that are editable and ready for inputs. The black text, however, are going to be values that have been calculated and are read-only. One of my favorite things about Anaplan is how easy it is to compare scenarios effectively. You'll see here that we can quickly edit the revenue driver weightings and then immediately scroll down for that scenario and see how that impacts this particular unit's revenue. The last feature I want to show on this page is drill down. So in our incentive budget summary here, let's say we want more information on the direct margin value for incentive scenario 1. Either by right-clicking or using F8, we can trace back the source of the calculated value step by step. This first level of drill down will give us insight into the line items behind the cell, and then we can further drill down into any of these items. When we go to the second level, we now get information on the formula calculating the line item and the formula values sitting behind this tuition appropriation. We can then easily toggle back to level 1 without starting over as needed. With that, we'll go ahead and switch to the incentive-based cost allocation page. So you can see here, once again, we have our quick nav links and then the same scenario capabilities, but with cost metric drivers instead. The next thing I'll point out here is the customized view toolbar available on each of these cards. So you'll have search, pivot, filter, show, hide. You can even add a comment. So for example, if we pivot here, we can easily adjust the dimensions applied for your context selectors, columns, or rows with the ability to easily reset your pivot when you're ready to do so. If we're maintaining that custom view, you can see then it's easy to go ahead and export the view with multiple file type options. I find this is really helpful when it comes to completing different, somebody else's template or ad hoc requests throughout the year. Then we have various types of charts and visualizations on this page. These are really easy to add or update using the page builder feature. So for those you provide page builder access to, they can easily add additional charts, edit what's out there, rearrange the page, and so forth, just to pull in even more model information. I'll lastly just call out as we wrap up, the Anaplan also has very robust and easy to use version control capabilities. So you can always see what changes have been made to the model and then even revert to previous versions of the model when necessary. And I think with that, that concludes this very brief demonstration of some of Anaplan's user experience functionality. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.